Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of How You Getting F'd. I'm your host Gorky Lumpur, and in today's new video series is going to be the first video out of the many that I'm going to be producing. We're going to be covering driving and speed. So according to Malaysia's Minister of Transportation, Anthony Loke, speeding is a problem in the country because there are so many speeders that we need to crack down on all of these people speeding on the highway because they're dangerous. It's for your own good and safety, bro, right? It's such a big problem that we need more enforcement, more speeding cameras. And as of last week, average speed cameras, yes, average speed cameras are coming to Malaysia. And for those people who don't know what average speed cameras are, they are basically two cameras that are set up at different points in the road that capture your number plate and then use image recognition to determine what your number plate is. And then further down the road, it detects your car again, and then it measures your speed based on the time that it took for you to travel from one point where the first camera was to the second point where the second camera was. So we're going to talk about this in probably a separate video, but I'm going to show you how bad the speeding problem is based on this recent trip from Singapore to Penang. I'm going to show you this entire video in 20x speed. I'm going to commentate throughout this entire video how the drivers are, and you'll get to see for yourself just how bad the speeding problem is and decide for yourself that if those speeding cameras are more for your health and safety and well-being or just another form of indirect taxation on the average citizen to fuck you over. So I'm going to talk about how speeding isn't actually the real problem, that it's constantly being pushed as a form of a health and safety issue for all the drivers and road users because it's an additional way that they're trying to tax the regular person and fuck over their wallets instead of actually helping and protecting the people that they claim that they protect, right? It's not speeding that's the problem, it is everything else, from distracted driving, people just driving on their phones. There's a lot of people that I've noticed on the highways who are driving with their phone mounted on their windshield and watching TikTok videos, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, and they think that it's okay because they're not touching their phone. I'm just driving over here and I'm just watching the video. There's no problem because I'm not touching the phone. It's perfectly legal, bro. And there's a lot of passing lane hogs, which we're about to see in this video. So let's just get right into it and see how it is for driving from Singapore to Penang. So first of all, we have this Honda Civic who is hogging the passing lane. It takes a couple of tries before I eventually pass him. We're all good. We pass another passing lane hogger over here. We are going straight down an empty road in the right lane. And there's a lot of people who like camping in the wrong lane. We're going to blank this out for privacy reasons at the toll gate. And we're merging onto the main highway, the north-south highway that links Johor Bahru JB to Penang, which is about 670 kilometers or so, about 300-400 miles. So we've passed another passing lane hogger, two more passing lane hoggers over here. It's raining, so it's probably the perfect time to catch speeders because people like speeding in the rain and that's dangerous. But all we're doing is passing more passing lane hoggers, more passing lane hoggers. Okay, this guy gets over, this guy gets over, this guy stays in the lane, and now he gets over. Okay, so now we're going down this road. We're going down, and we're meeting more passing lane hoggers. And now we're having to go into a slow lane and overtaking this passing lane hogger. Going down, people are well behaved down the stretch. Another passing lane hogger in this Toyota Alphard over here who refuses to get over until now. And there's another guy who just gets over. Now everyone's all good. Everything's just fine on this highway, going straight. It's still raining. Another passing lane hogger just goes to the left when he sees someone else coming behind him. And we have another passing lane hogger over here whom we overtake using the slow lane. And there's another passing lane hogger over here, and he is just braking. So we take the left lane again, and we pass this passing lane hogger. So we're going down this road. There's another passing lane hogger in a Toyota Alphard, another one in another Toyota Alphard, which we are attempting to pass in the slow lane, but now we've passed him in the right lane because he's finally noticed us behind him, and he has moved over to the side. We've passed over another 3 passing lane hoggers in the slow lane, and now we've encountered another passing lane hogger. These people don't actually look in their rear view mirror as they're driving because they're just being NPCs. They're probably distracted on their phones, just watching TikTok or whatever it is that they're watching on their phone. They're definitely not using the phone for navigation. They're watching something on their phone, and they're just hogging the passing lane, and it takes a few seconds. You notice how fast this video is because it's on 20x speed. It actually takes a couple of seconds in real life for them to actually register, if at all, that there's someone in their rear view mirror as they hog the lane continuously, like this other guy over here and this guy over here. And eventually they move over to the slow lane like they should, but it takes a while for them to do that. So we're going down this highway. It's now start of the day. It's nice, getting nice and bright and sunny, and we have another passing lane hogger. Oh, this guy's in a Mini Cooper. He's trying to overtake other passing lane hoggers, and now we're going straight down this road. We're going down this nice highway over here, and we have nice clear highways until we meet more passing lane hoggers. There's another one in the carnival over there, and we have a lorry who is kind of in that passing lane for a moment. That's fine. We're going to go down this road some more, and you can see throughout the course of this video, because I'm going to seem like I'm repeating myself here, that the recurring theme is people who are sitting in the passing lane, they're camping the passing lane, and they're not moving over until someone else comes behind them, which is not the right way to use the passing lane, right? You're supposed to use the passing lane for passing the car that is in the slow lane. In the case of Malaysia, which uses the UK side, the left lane is the slow lane, and the right lane is the passing lane. All these people are just camping in the right lane over here because they feel like it's the lane. I'm supposed to be here, and I'm traveling according to the speed limit, therefore, I deserve to be here. That's the mentality of a lot of these people over here. Despite having an empty lane to their left, right? They're still in that passing lane as well because they feel that they're doing nothing wrong. It's the lack of education. How many people do you see speeding over here? How many street racers are you going to see in the next couple of minutes, which is equivalent to something like 6+ hours, right? How many of those people can you spot by the end of this video? Because right now, I'm just looking at this video and we're looking at more passing lane hoggers. You can see how empty the slow lane is on the left, yet this guy takes forever before finally deciding to move over. And now we've reached a 3-lane section of the highway where there's going to be even more fun because you can notice on the left 2 lanes, they're mostly empty. And you can have these regular people over here just sitting randomly in the right side over here, right? That's how it is driving on the highway in Malaysia, right? There's very few speeders, as you can see, just a whole lot of empty space on the left and a whole lot of slow people traveling on the right, just holding things up for everyone else. Now we're going to see over here that traffic's getting a little bit heavier because we're a bit deeper into the morning over here, but you can see still there are people on the right lane who are finally moving over after realizing that they have a car in the rear view mirror, and we have some people who are driving a little bit more aggressively, as you can see, due to these exact passing lane hogs. It's not because they want to speed, or it's not because there's anyone who is actually speeding in the first place. It's because there are people sitting in the wrong lane who just want to be there. They aren't going to move over sometimes because they feel they deserve it. Like this Camry over here who takes forever to finally move off into the middle lane. And now we're looking good over here. Everyone's well behaved. I would say that there's a pleasant driving experience to be had in Malaysia, maybe 20-30% of the time on the highways. And that's because of people who actually pay attention to their driving. But it's very, very rare for people to actually do that because, like I said, there's entitlement problems. There's lack of education. There is this whole mindset that I'm following the speed limit and I'm driving on the road, so I'm a law-abiding citizen, therefore I'm not doing anything wrong. Why are you flashing and honking me while I'm camping here in the passing lane, bro? You should get some learning from your mother on your manners. That's what you need to do. That's what a lot of these people are actually thinking when they are sitting here in this lane right here, like this Honda City, this Toyota Alphard over here. They are just entitled. They're doing nothing wrong in their minds. And this is the exact problem, because when you have people camping in the passing lane traveling at a speed that is at the exact speed limit or even lower than what the speed limit specifies, you're creating a hazard for everyone else, because what most people are doing is trying to use the passing lane for passing, or at least the people who are driving without looking at their phones and watching TikTok while they're driving at least, right? So they are driving with the expectation that people are going to be traveling relatively fast to overtake those other cars on the left 2 lanes, and boom, you have this one slow asshole who's traveling significantly slower than the rest of the right lane has been doing, and then they suddenly brake because there is another person in front of them who is traveling at an even slower rate than they are. So what happens is that in the best case scenario, you're going to get one car starting to slow down over here, and the next one slowing down behind it, and then the next one slows down behind it, and eventually you kind of create a giant ass slowdown, which results in the traffic jams that people often complain about. And the other thing that it causes, which is probably the bad outcome, that was the good one. A good outcome is a traffic jam that just adds anywhere from half an hour to 2 hours to your travel time. No problem, right? Everyone just has all the time in the world to travel, right? Don't need to speed and be dangerous, right? The worst case scenario is that it causes a freaking accident because people can't anticipate this dumbass passing lane hog who I mean, they frequently brake for no reason at all in the passing lane. So you'll see over here, I'll try to look for an example over here. There's a lot of people who randomly brake for no good reason, despite there being no vehicles in front of them. And the problem with that is when you do this and you suddenly slow to near a grinding stop and someone else comes behind you, they have to jam on their brakes as well. And then the person behind that has to also slam on their brakes. And then the person behind that person is going to have to slam on their brakes. And what happens is that this creates a chain that eventually may result in one of those people not being able to react in time, whether it's due to their own human reflexes or whether it's due to the mechanics of their car, where they might have not gotten their brake pads changed in a long ass time, and they are going to rear end the car in front of them. And quite frequently you see this kind of accident very, very often, both in Malaysia and also in Singapore. And the real culprit of that accident isn't that person who is at the very front with his rear bumper all screwed up and they're potentially the rear half of their car all messed up by the person who just rear-ended them. That real culprit who caused that accident has long gotten away because they are that person who was hogging the lane, and then they encountered another lane hog, and then they decided to slow down. And then the person behind them had to slow down. And then the person behind that person had to slow down, but he couldn't stop in time, so he crashed into that person. Guess what? The real cause of that accident, the first two cars, have gotten away scot-free. That's how it is in Malaysia and Singapore especially. A lot of people like to complain that American car drivers are shit. Just take a look at this goddamn video and see for yourself. Look at the number of hogs in this 2-lane stretch of highway. We're having to pass them using the left lane, which is the slow lane. The passing lane is being occupied by these people. Look at that. Look at that right there. Look at this BMW. Now we have to pass him. Now we have to pass the guy in front of him in the slow lane. Now we're behind this Toyota over here, and we're going to have to pass them in the slow lane as well. And a whole bunch of people in the slow lane. Look at this. Look at how many people we just had to pass in the slow lane because they are hogging the goddamn passing lane. And this is the problem that these ministers and experts aren't talking about. These are the problems that these mainstream media outlets aren't complaining about. They're just talking about, oh, speeding is a problem because all these speeders are what kill. It's no matter of fact that if you're going anywhere above, I guess, walking speed, technically that's speeding because humans weren't designed by nature or whoever you believe created humans to travel at a rate that is higher than basically a top running speed by a person like Usain Bolt, right? So everything else is speeding. Even if you're traveling at 30 kilometers an hour, that's faster than any human can carry themselves on their legs. So technically that's speeding. Right? But the real danger, right? The real cause of the problems, the real cause of those accidents isn't speeding. It's people deciding that they want to travel at a rate that's slower or equivalent to the speed limit while in the lane that they're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be traveling whatever speed limit, 110 kilometers an hour, 70 miles an hour, right? In the slow left lane or the slow 2 left lanes. The right lane is for the people to pass these people and overtake because they might be traveling faster. It is not because of speed that things are dangerous. It's because of people on their goddamn phones all the time because they just can't unhook themselves because they're addicted to this dangerous ass drug that's completely legal. They're looking at their screen and they're scrolling it from time to time. Just watch those drivers through their rear window what they're doing. You're going to be able to see these people that I talk about. And this is that famous stretch of highway where they're planning to install that set of average speed cameras over here. And look at how people are traveling. Look at this guy in the black car in front. He's just going the exact speed limit and he's just hogging the road. He's refusing to move over until we finally pass him in the slow lane, which is the lane that we are supposed to pass other vehicles. But these guys in the passing lane are forcing other people to do that. And that adds to the danger, aside from that whole chain collision caused by people hogging the lane where you're supposed to be overtaking and going at a relatively high pace compared to the rest of traffic. They are also forcing people to perform dangerous maneuvers in order to not waste time following their slow ass on the highway, because they're unlike those people. There are people who actually have time concerns or a desire to get to their destination in a reasonable amount of time instead of following the ass of someone who can't seem to drive or dedicate their brain and body to driving. They have to be wandering and daydreaming, or they're looking at their phone, or they're watching their news stories, or sometimes even replying to their WhatsApp messages. I can see people on WhatsApp with their phone on the dash all the freaking time. And why do I notice all of these things, you might ask? How do other people not notice these things? Because they're just as distracted. Because when I get into my car and I start driving, I don't look at anything. The only screen that I look at from time to time is a navigation screen, and that screen just shows navigation. I don't have my phone stuck to a phone mount where I'm looking at text messages or watching YouTube or watching Instagram stories or scrolling TikTok like all of these people are. That's how I notice. And when traffic slows down, like you see over here, I notice even more because traffic is now slow. I look at next door, I look at the person next to me, and they're on their goddamn phone. And you think it's perfectly fine, especially when a traffic jam comes up, because they're now saying that, oh, now it's a traffic jam, I don't really have to concentrate as much, so now I can use my phone. I'm free now to use my phone. Oh wait, the car in front has moved away 20-30 meters. Oh, let me just catch up with them right now. That is the exact problem that these mainstream media outlets and their puppet masters, all these experts and ministers, aren't telling the regular people. Meanwhile, they're just saying, we need to crack down on speeding. Crack down on speeding, bro, because we want to save more lives. If it just saves one life, it matters. That's the fucking problem. Now, if you've watched till the end of this video, I thank you for your time, because it's a 6-hour journey that's compressed into something like 16 minutes long. And as you can see, all the passing lane hogs. Where are those speeders that they're talking about? Hope you learned something from today's video, and look out for more videos like this one, because there's plenty more that I'm about to do and about to publish.